Greetings, greetings, family, and good morning. Welcome to day number 743 in the Wake Up Everybody virtual community space. This is Coach Shawnee Benton Gibson coming to you live from South Ozone Park, Queens, New York. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So happy to be here with all of you, exploring the powerful topic of time, a new perspective. This year, I've been navigating this conversation in multiple forms and just feeling so grateful to be present to time, to be intentional about how I negotiate time. Just grateful to view time as a form of currency, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to just say good morning to those who are in the Zoom space. If you're on Facebook, greetings, greetings, greetings. And you can jump on in and participate in Zoom if you wish, if you have the ability to do so, because I know some of you are rolling in the car or moving around in your house and maybe you can't do that. But I'm grateful to be with you no matter how you have arrived in this space today and no matter how you are participating. So good morning, Abimbola. Good morning, Sweetness. Good morning, Fatima. Let's see. Good morning, Shelly. I see some new names and faces in the space. Chastity, greetings, greetings. Jennifer, hey, babes. Marilyn, good to see you. Phyllis, Z. So grateful to have a community. Adam, greetings, brother, that shows up and co-creates in a powerful, powerful way. Adam, I love how you've placed my name in the chat. So even though I don't spell it like that, that's how my name is pronounced, right? And over time, it's become Shawnee. People call me Shawnee, but my name is Shawnee. And that's how my family pronounces it. So when you put the Shannny in there, just reminded me of hearing my family call my name. I was with my family yesterday, spending time. My daughter transitioned in October of 2019, my eldest daughter, Shimani. And so the family came together to celebrate her birthday yesterday. So we spent time eating and laughing and fellowshipping. And in that space, everybody knows my name as Shawnee and calls me that. And it feels good. It makes me think about the time when I was a little girl. Some of you have that. You have nicknames or names you have adopted over time and they have value and meaning and power, or they trigger you, whatever it is, it's powerful. So welcome, it's 7:03. Just want to say again, looking forward to spending time with you. So let's tune in and see where we land.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together.
I love the deliciousness of that song. My youngest, Jasmine Nicole Gibson, is many things, but a few of the things that she does is compose and sing and write music. And over the years, we've sang together many, many times. And just thinking about today's session, which is time, a new perspective. I just think about how much of my life I've spent engaging in artistry, which is something that I love, something that feeds and fuels me. And, what I want to invite us all to do as we spend time in this space, because your time is valuable to me, it's precious. You could be doing so many other things. I invite you to really explore your relationship with time. I'll also invite you to spend time inviting others into the space. I see new names in the space. I'm super excited about that. I love meeting and connecting with new people. And I say this often in this space, that I love live and virtual space equally, because it's about the energy exchange. So for me, even though I can't lay hands on you, I do feel you energetically and have much gratitude about that. So I just want to thank you all for being here. And once again, because today's session is about time, I want you, as much as possible, and I will say it in the space, tune in to time and how you are spending it in this second right now as you listen to my voice. In a minute from now, all of it is powerful, it has relevance, all of it has meaning. And then also it's meaningless at the same time. So, we'll see how I'll unpack that with all of you, and we'll co-create that deeper understanding. So what I do in spaces where I get to lead and facilitate, I engage in something called face rights. But before I do that, let me do even something that is as equally important to me, which is to ask for permission to continue. So it may be Abimbola. I could be wrong. I see she's in the space. So Abimbola, can you unmute for a sec? And I have a question for you before we move forward. Can you hear me, my lovely? Abimbola. Well, you over there, you here, but not here. What's up? And I can't even invite you to unmute because I'm not controlling the features on Zoom today. But maybe she's doing something else. She's usually here, so I'm not knocking it. I'll say it one more time, and then I'll move on to who else it might be in this space. But Abimbola, if you can hear me, please unmute, because I want to ask your permission to do something. Going once, going twice. Thank you, Chantel, for asking her to unmute. Going 3 times. So Sweetness, if you could unmute. And I could be wrong about this. Are you unmuted, my love? Sweetness.
I am, beloved.
All right, awesome. So I believe you might be the second oldest in this space. I could be wrong because I don't know everybody in the space. But tell us how old you are, please.
61 years.
That's young, good. You might not be the eldest, but I'm going to ask you anyway. You are my elder, so I respectfully ask your permission to continue. May I have your permission to do so?
I humbly give you permission to do so.
Thank you. I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. And there are 17 of us in the space, 3 of which are admins, me as the facilitator, and Chantel and Nija as the admin supporting or co-creating the session with me. So there are 14 guests and participants in the Zoom space. And I don't know how many are on the Facebook app. Chantel can say that. And there's always room for more. So please do, if you would. Now there are 18 people, 15 of which are guests today. And I don't know how many in Facebook, but please do invite others to be in the space. Thank you, Chantel, for sharing 7 on Facebook. So welcome, 7 folk. So just inviting you to invite others to be in this conversation about time. Y'all know me. If you've been in the space and I've facilitated and you've witnessed me before, I'm always asking folks to invite in the moment, to be spontaneous, because I love how we get to use our time in that way. Like, take the time to think about who you can invite into the space so that we can all be in conversation together and grow. Thank you. We're at 19. So I'm going to start or continue this conversation. Today's session, once again, is time, a new perspective. So that also invites you to think about it in a new and innovative way. So let's put the first slide up so that we can start building out brick by brick this conversation about time. So Nigel, whenever you're ready. Thank you. So once again, how I lead is by engaging in ritual. And there's a ritual called face rights that I do when I'm in live space or virtual space. And it allows you to be seen, heard, and felt in the space. So on the side, the left side, we have a quote: "The key is in not spending time, but in investing it." I thank y'all for investing time in me today. Like, time is currency. I said that earlier. So for our face rights, please do drop in the chat, and then I'll hear from some of you verbally. Share your age by using a cultural reference that aligns with the decade that you were born. So I was born in 1968. So a cultural reference is Motown. Motown. I think that decade was when there was a lot of energy around those songs and people dancing to them, like Smokey Robinson and Berry Gordy and Diana Ross and Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5 and Stevie Wonder. I did say the year, but I only did that just so you can understand what I was talking about. But just drop a cultural reference that aligns with the decade that you were born. And also, oh goodness, I erased something, but I'm going to share it in the chat with you all. I apologize for that. I don't know what happened. Share your overall relationship with time. Is it high vibrational or low vibrational? And then you'll get a chance to elaborate. You can just put high vibrational, low vibrational in the chat. So put your cultural reference based on the decade you were born, and then also share your overall relationship with time, high vibrational or low vibrational. And if Nigel, you could put that in the chat. Like I said, I made a mistake with the slide. I erased something or did something or hit a portion of it. So I'm just filling in the gaps, y'all. And you can take the slide down if you need to, and then I'll just correct it so folks can see. But yeah, so I'm going to give you a minute to like really let that marinate. Cultural reference to the decade you were born. And then what's your relationship with time? Is it high vibrational or low vibrational? And pick one, right? And pick based on the present moment, So right now I will say for myself, I already shared the cultural reference about my year of birth or decade of birth. And I'm closing my eyes. My relationship with time right now, I would say, is low vibrational. When I think about all the things that I can do in time, which is eat properly, sleep, spend time with people that I love, work, play, travel, meditate, or commune with the ancestors, I would say I have a low vibrational relationship right now. Can you go back, Nigel? With this, with time and in recovery around it. So 20 more seconds, fam. 20 more seconds, and I would love to hear from you. And I just want y'all to know I'm taking my time today. I'm moving slowly. Once again, inviting you to invite others to join us in this space. 10 seconds left, family, and I see or hear someone is unmuted. Not sure if you want to share. We can use our digital hands. All right, time is complete. And notice I said complete, not up. Time is not up, right? Time is complete with this moment in time regarding the share, the face rights. So Chantel, if you can help me, I'm sorry, not Chantel, Nija, if you can help me with some of the shares, and then I would love to work with someone in the space. You have to unmute, Nija.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me. So. All right, I'm scrolling back up. So Jacqueline started and she said, heart of the civil rights movements. Chastity says 80s baby. And she says IDK. I don't know.
There's so many references to the 80s. What comes up from me, well, you were young, but in the 80s, I think about the clothing that folks were wearing. There was like all this color, and there were these gloves that women would wear. I think about Madonna. Oh my God, I think about hip hop. and like the hip hop icons and how they were, bubbling up and out during that time. I went to school with LL Cool J. We're the same age, and we went to elementary school, junior high school, and then we split off when it was time for high school. And I remember riding the bus in Queens and him standing on the corner with his radio playing his song. I don't know if it was Rock the Bells, but lots of 80s references, lots of things. So I'm like, you better get with it, 80s babies. And my two eldest children are born in the 80s, but at the end of the 80s. So one in 88 and one in 89. So I think about that too. I think about just all the happenings during that time. I also think about the fact that during the 80s and 90s, the crack epidemic was an issue, and also the AIDS epidemic. So I'm handing you over some stuff, Chastity, and others who are 80s babies or just living and growing during that time have a bunch of other things that haven't been named by me in this space. Lots of references. That was a percolating decade. Anyone else, Nigel?
Yeah, so Catherine and Marie both said civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
Marilyn, 80s baby again. Shelley says independence of Trinidad and Tobago, 1968.
Mm.
There are some more civil rights and civil rights and low vibrational.
Mm-hmm.
Someone shares they were born the year Emmett Till was made famous.
Got that. Wow. That's an interesting way to put it. Yeah.
Right. Not the year he was born.
Right.
Chastity says low vibrational with time. And then she goes on to say 1985, Jumpin' Jack Flash. And that was an 80s movie.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Sweetness says high vibrational. She is never late. When she gets there, she is on time. Nzinga in Facebook shared low vibrational, and she says the Lion King.
Mm.
Phyllis, yes. Phyllis says Martin Luther King death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
High vibrational, time is precious, says Jacqueline.
Mm-hmm.
Dominique, high vibrations. She's an 80s child. Valerie on Facebook says civil rights movement. Time is low vibrational. These days, time seems to pass so quickly that it feels like a blur. And then we have a couple more. Facebook, Dave Renegade Spade, MTV. And Zakia says Cynthia Lorraine Burroughs, Thomas Talib Bey. I was born in a decade for empowerment for BIPOC folks. We started taking a stand for ourselves. Civil rights was its low vibrational energy around time. And then the very last one that we have right now is Kaisha. She says 1980s MTV, time is low vibrational for her because she's lost time management skills since getting out of the military in 2009.
Got it. And, I love that a few things have been said about the preciousness of time, the loss of time, always being on time. Remember, this session is called Time, a New Perspective. So I'm going to call into question all of that, all that you have said about time. We've been taught some very low vibrational things about time. And time has become like this ruler, this oppressive energy when it was never meant to be that. So I'm grateful for all of the check-ins and for you being here. I'm grateful that there are 26 people pouring into this space, utilizing the currency of time. It is not wasted on me. Once again, it's a phenomenal gift. I'm grateful to you. I love that all of our, the pool of time that we have is in this space on Facebook and in the Zoom space is so juicy and delicious that we have that. And I feel it in my physical body. But because of our relationship with time, we just move on through. We say time is precious, but we don't recognize that us coming together collectively that there's something happening in the universe because of this configuration of DNA, of lived experiences, of our clans, of our bloodlines, of how our bodies and the inner workings of the bodies are moving and all of that. Just like, I think about time spent with women, and if they're menstruating, how they all start to menstruate in time together. Time is a beautiful thing, but we've been taught that it's a construct. And I'm not shitting on time. I understand the value of ticking clocks and seconds and minutes, but sometimes the value given to it takes away from our living and being as spiritual beings having a human experience. The human experience sometimes takes over and spirit gets pushed to the side. So today we're going to be creating a new perspective, a new relationship, if we choose, because time is yours to choose what you do and what you don't. If you choose to join me on this journey, we'll all discover something new. And this is an inquiry just as much for me as it is for you all. So please keep that in mind and keep time in mind and spirit. So I'm grateful for all the shares. I think I want to move to the next slide, but let me look at it first, Nigel. And I've said a few things, and folks may have that percolating. I will also name that there are 25 people in the space. Let's see if we can take it to 30. Invite your people into the space as a gift in time. And let's see, and it'll be time well spent. I promise you, you won't be inviting them in vain. So let me see. Next slide. Do I want to go to it? Yeah, let's go to it, Nigel. How do we define time? So time defined. Let's see. What is time, family? What is time? So drop it in the chat. When you hear that question, when you see it, what is time and how do you define it? What is time and how do you define it? And then Nigel, once we get a few drops in the chat, if there's anybody who wants to come off mute and share what it is that they have in their spirit around time and in your mind, please do, because I want to hear it. I see Shelly said freedom. Thank you, Shelly. So once again, I'm taking my time. All right, Nigel, anything in the chat that you want to share that has been dropped? You're unmuted, my love?
Yeah, yes, I am. So my understanding is that when we live in the present, there is no time and space. Florence shared that. Shelley says freedom. Terry says time is possibilities and opportunities. Florence also shared, in spirit, there is no time. Time is a construct of the physical worlds. And then Phyllis shared, living at the moments.
All righty. So I'm curious about the declarations about time, because I'm telling you, I know as a metaphysician that time, I said it all, it's a construct. I know that there's the whole spiritual component of time. In my day-to-day, I operate like I'm running from, running with, running toward time. I operate like I'm being like manipulated by time, and that time is this external thing coming at me and it's doing me wrong. When I look at this face in the mirror, I make time wrong for this beautiful face in the mirror. I make it wrong for the sagginess under my eyes. I make it wrong for the crow's feet. I make it wrong for my hair being thinner than what I'm accustomed to because I grew up having thick hair. I make it wrong for my neck. I make it wrong for my little pouch that protrudes from my belly. Like, I know that time is a gift. Conceptually, I know it cognitively, I know it theoretically, but I don't always operate like time is a gift. So anybody want to share what your true relationship is with time? Because we don't tell the truth about it. We don't. We say these beautiful, colorful things, but in the day to day, we operate like time is doing something to us and not working with us. We act like it's working against us. And I'm speaking broadly because I'm bold like that. Yeah, I know that this is how we get down. So anybody want to share? I see Nzinga came on camera and smiling and moving. You want to say something? We can debate too. I love a little debate. But I see you, beautiful. Thank you for coming on camera. Thank you, Baba Koja, for coming on camera. Anybody else who is able, is all good. So please do. Hands up. Anyone want to share? I see
So
somebody.
we do
Wow,
have,
Terry.
yeah, so Shawnee, we do have 4 hands up.
Okay, great. Hey.
Yeah, so Teresa, Sister, Chastity, and Nzinga in that order.
Beautiful. Let's
Peace
do.
and blessing. Good morning, Shawnee.
Good morning, love.
I said that time was precious, and a lot of times I don't appreciate it.
Say more,
other-
please.
I just feel like, for me, I've said, like, I didn't use my time properly, like, and, like, just like when you think about, especially with me, I've had, quite a bit of death in family. And, sometimes there's times when I said that I spent enough time with the people, who I lost. And so I have to, like remind myself that whatever the time that I spent, I did, whatever, like, don't get into that guilt thing about what you did, because, you can go down a rabbit hole with that, but I do know that I need to spend more time with people than what I've been doing, instead of just being stuck in the house. So that's one thing that I am working on is, like, just sometimes just calling them on FaceTime, or just, checking on them. I will check on people, but I don't always go visit, And sometimes I feel, for me now, like, I'll say because of the COVID, but then there's sometimes where it's not COVID. I just been too comfortable being at home.
Yeah.
To be complete.
Thank you. Yeah, it doesn't feel complete, sis, but I receive that you're complete in this moment in time of speaking, but it's not complete, meaning energetically or emotionally or spiritually. And I'm slowing myself down. For those who know me, y'all know I can be like this. I can rattle it off, and I'm grateful for that. It's a gift. I'm just slowing down so I can be with what you said. So thank you, sis, for the share. I'm slowing myself down so I can listen before I speak. When I think about what you said about, you haven't been reaching out to people, and you also mentioned about being in that cocoon cave. I don't know how you describe, like, of your home. I know that space because I spend a lot of time in my house these days, and it can feel very comfortable. Even though I do a lot of stuff to contribute to people, there's something about being in here doing it that's not necessarily high vibrational. What I'm doing here is high vibrational, but what I'm doing, when I think about, once again, my body and the need for the sun and the need for nature, right? Sometimes I don't want to be in space with people, and I have to, like, really amp myself up to do that. So I have to be very conscious. I choose to be very conscious of how I'm spending time in this house, because I'm extroverted and very alive in my life, very vocal, as y'all know, but there's a part of me that wants to go internal and stay. The little girl that would get in the closet and read my books with a little light, the little girl that would go under the bed, the little girl that has an attachment, and a grown woman, to blankets and dark and heat. That's a part of me that is operating from a trauma wound, right? So when I think about time and time spent and where and how I spend it, I'm very conscious, especially these days, because this year Spirit gave me this whole navigation of time as medicine. And I've been talking about it everywhere, that sometimes I'm not applying the balm that I need for my healing because I'm spending too much time alone and too much time in work mode. So it can be a product of depression. It can be a product of or byproduct of trying to control. It's like, I know this space. And I'm also somebody that doesn't entertain. I can know somebody for years and they've never been to my house. There's something about this cocoon that I like to keep to myself. And I'm not making that wrong, but I'm spending time looking at it, being present with it. And I'm going to say this last thing, and this is not just for you, Teresa, this is for anyone who this resonates for. Like me paying attention to it, not like this, like hurry up and understand what this is and fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. That doesn't work either. That's me being oppressed by time regarding my healing journey. And I don't need that. There are some things that I will probably go to my grave still working on.
Yeah.
So what comes up for you, sis? Like if you want to spend time like really being present to what is going on with you from a new perspective.
Well, I feel like I got stuck in a place, and I sometimes feel like I know how to get out, especially with staying in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like you said, it's very comfortable in here, and I'm dealing with different things, and I just feel like, well, one of the things too, I feel like I was running and running and running so much, and not taking care of myself, and so I am taking a little bit better care of myself than what I was before, but I do feel like I need to go outside more because even if it's cold, it's like there was a time I didn't really like to go out in the cold, but I've been, taking some good deep breaths when I'm outside, and it just feels nice just to be outside. So, one of the things I'm working on doing is going and spending some time with some family during the holidays because I haven't done that in a while, and really making an effort to do it no matter what. I was trying to go with my sisters, but her steps was kind of really a little too thin for me to walk up. So, but they went bowling the other day, so I said, let's go meet at the bowling alley, in the next couple of weeks, So I'm looking forward to doing that with them because I do like bowling.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't bowled in a long time.
That's awesome. I love that you're choosing to spend time, engage time, invest time in bowling, because the slide that I had before was talking about investing our time. And if we thought about it in that way, it would shift our paradigm. I'm investing time right now. It's 7:33. And then from now until 7:34, I'm fully invested and engaged. And then from 7:34 to 7:35, I choose to be fully invested and engaged. I wonder if y'all know that even as a facilitator, I can be present. I mean, I can be physically here, but not present in time. And then also, I'm going to ask you to let this marinate, not necessarily speak on it, Teresa. But when you were saying about the steps, I also thought about how much time you must spend thinking about whether you can actually go to a place because of your physical beingness. How much time is spent wondering if you're going to be able to be comfortable in that space. And I would imagine that keeps you at home sometimes too, because it's like, am I going to be able to move and maneuver in this space? How will people receive me in this space? This is stuff that I navigate. I don't have, some of the challenges that you have physically. But there are things that I think about when I turn up in spaces that to me is not a good investment of time for me. If it's about safety and well-being, which I'm sure part of your thinking about it is, but if it's about some other thing, shame or feelings about judgment and all this other stuff, which I've had also put time in thinking about, it's like, who's going to be there? What are they going to do? And when I get there, how I'm being, I can be physically in the space, but not present. And many of us, somebody right now is physically in the space, but not present, because your mind is here and there. Or even as you think about what I'm saying, now you're going off someplace else. That's very much a human dynamic as it relates to the navigation of time. Teresa, thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Because you said other hands are up, family.
Yes, Shawnee, sister's hand is up. She was next.
Okay, wonderful. And then if we
Sister,
could,
are you ready?
Uh-oh. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good
You
morning.
know how
Uh-oh, did you go mute?
did I go mute?
Yeah, there
Okay.
you go again. Go ahead, babe.
Okay. All right. Am I on camera?
Oh, I don't know. The team will have to say. If you
Okay,
are, I
I'm
don't
trying
see
to put
you on
yeah.
spot. Yeah.
All right. I was trying to put myself on camera, but
Mhm.
There
I'm
you
cool
go.
without
See if
being on it.
No, there you go. They said.
Okay. Am I? Okay.
I invited you to come on camera.
Okay. There we
Oh,
go.
There you
There we
go.
go. Okay. Yeah. So time. Oh, I'm always in a situation with time. Time for me sometimes does not feel like my friend. I'm always rushing to get somewhere. I'm always like, and then if I'm rushing to get there and then I get there, I'm concerned with, oh no, now it was, 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late. Now I can't, or now they're upset, or now I can't. And so I'm frazzled for a while, trying to really like catch up with the time. And so that it messes me up because now I'm not bringing my whole self to what I'm supposed to do because I'm concerned that I didn't manage the time right. And I didn't get time makes me stub my toe. It makes me leave the place a mess because I'm like, oh no, I can't do this now. Oh, I gotta get out. Oh, ouch. Put this over here. Why is this here? Me, I'm always trying to catch up with time. And it's time is even, or my perception of time has even kept me from hugging my children. Like, I remember when my daughter was like 3 years old and I'm trying to rush off to get to take care of whatever it is I have to take care of so I could take care of her. And she's like, can I have a hug? And I'm like, we don't have time for hugs, girl. We got to get out of here. I've done that many times, time makes me feel guilty. Time makes me feel, or my perception of time makes me feel inadequate. There's a lot of judgment around time for me. Like oftentimes at family events, I would be the last person to show up, right? And so there's always a bunch of comments and jokes about it. Like let's say 15 minutes or 20 minutes late for a family event. Like, there's certain family members may say comments like, ooh, you early. Like, that they'll be throwing jokes and shade like, oh, she's 15 minutes late. That's early. Girl, you getting better, things like that. Yeah, it's good. I'm glad I'm not by myself on that. But time has always been a stress factor for me. And the illusion of trying to manage it. I'm 50 years old and I still do not know how to manage time. I will say that I believe that I have gotten better at it. Hence the comments from family members saying you're 15 minutes late, you're on time, because there's been when I'll be a day late.
Yeah.
So yeah, time has been me and time has always been in a battle. That's the relationship I have with time. I am and have been, I have always been working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say where we are right now is the best we've ever been. It's the best we've ever been. So I'll give myself a pat on the back for that. And I'm complete.
Yeah. Thank you, love. Thank you for your honesty to a degree, right? I'm saying to a degree because I love on one hand how you're personifying time, like you're giving time flesh and bones. You're giving time life. Like it makes me, like it's on the side, like you better be late or you better be, like you're giving a voice to time and declaring these dimensions and this relationship with it as if it's an external thing doing something to you. I said earlier how we allow ourselves to be oppressed by it. And I'm like, if you gave up that it's this external thing doing something to you, I wonder what your life would be like, right? But we're going to go further into this. And I told Nigel and Chantel that Spirit said that I should do something psychodramatically with someone. I don't know if that's you. Not everybody knows what psychodrama is, but it may be you. I'll see. I'll read it. Yeah, thank you. But I want to say a couple of things before we see where we land and see if it ends up being you as the person who I do the psychodrama with. I'm like, and you may have been asked this before, but like I said, Time and New Perspective is the title of this session. So it's like the same question answered differently or processed differently is my invitation to you to process it or receive it differently. Who is the model for time or regarding time that has created your adversarial relationship and resistance to it? Then if the question's not clear, I'll try to restate it.
Okay, there's a lot of parts to the question. Just say it one more time.
Okay. And even what you just said is an indicator. There's a lot of parts to the question, so say it one more time. That resonates with me. Let me write this down, or team, please hold that because I want to come back to it. So I'll repeat again. The actual question is, who from your life has been the model for time and the negotiation of time that has supported this adversarial, resistant relationship with time? Who is that?
Okay, so I understand the question. I grew up and I'm trying to figure out the answer now. So I'm just talking out loud.
Oh yeah, this is what we're doing together, yeah.
Right, so my mind starts to think, okay, well, I don't have an answer. So I'm thinking of who was in my circle as I was growing up. My mother, my father, my sister mostly. So my mother's on time. My sister's on time. My father used to have an issue with time.
What do you mean?
He was always late for things too. He's gotten much better. He's 80 now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe when I'm 80,
like, I'm tired, whatever.
But he was the one that had most of the challenge on time. And I just remember and still can hear my mother always saying to me, you have to be on time. You have to get on time. Or I would always hear her always getting at my father about time. You always, Ricardo, never on time. It's not on time. You're on time. It's a problem because the time. She would always be reiterating that he wasn't on time. I wasn't on time. You have to respect time.
Yeah.
Be behind time.
Yeah. Oh, lots of layers regarding this. And I was going to start the session about quotes around time because we all have them, like songs. Time is talked about a lot, right? And so, question. I don't know how free or open you are to answer this, so you can say, I don't want to answer this. It's all about consent. What is present in the dynamic with your mother that may be contributing to the resistance around time? And it may not be her languaging around time. It might be other stuff where there's a resistance that has been bred and it's alive and keeps showing up, even though you're grown.
Wow. That's amazing. You're amazing.
So are you.
Well, I see this in my daughter. I think there's a natural, what's the word I want to use? Oh God, there's a word, it's at the tip of my tongue. I think it starts with the D. It's like, I think there's something within me as a daughter and my mother growing up where trying to find my own space.
Yeah.
There may have been some like resistance to whatever thing she may have said, just because she said it,
Yeah.
because I see it in my daughter too.
Got
So
it.
maybe if she said, "Oh, the black one looks nice,"
Mm-hmm.
there would be a natural defiance, within, just because of having a mom who want to doubt on you, take care of you, make sure you could be on time, do this. There's a part of you that want to find yourself, or a part of me that may have wanted to find myself as a child or a teenager, and maybe time was one of those tools. Like I don't know, she was ready to go do this, I'm ready to do this.
Right.
She wanted to be this color, I wanted to be that color. So I think a natural defiance of just trying to find myself or what works for me, or taking the time. Maybe this is what's coming up. I think maybe even in the example of like my mom as a child doing my hair,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe me not liking this particular style and going in the bathroom and
Change.
rearranging it a little bit. Maybe I wanted the ponytail to be a little bit down here instead of all the way up here. And then that would make me late, but I'd be consistent to try to be fixing it the way I want it to be. And then I'd be late. So I think maybe the lateness could have possibly, that relationship may have been manifested with time as another mode of just trying to find myself. The word defiance or resistance coming up, but I think even deeper than that, it's just me trying to find a little time to find myself.
Understood.
A little piece of time for me. That's what I think it is. So
yeah,
that's my complete thought on
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, it's exploration. There's no right answer, because once again, because of how we've been indoctrinated, it's like we must get to it. There's a time frame to get to it, and this is an inquiry. I'm just as much in a space of curiosity about it as you. I'm not attached to it being an answer, and I'm making sure that I'm listening to you and being in the present moment. So you're gifting me, like we're spending, sharing, and investing in time with one another in this moment. And the other thing that comes up for me is that because this world is designed the way it is, I do a lot of work on anti-racism, white supremacy culture, patriarchy, how we commodify things. So when you're living in a world where it's like this and you're like this, it can create a lot of confusion. And to me, you're like this. And I love that you're like this. And, as someone who's also like this, I'm like, okay, I have to choose to tune into time in a very particular way. Otherwise, I can lose opportunities to share this in a meaningful way as part of my purpose. So when I think about time as the oppressor, I miss out on the fact that I can integrate the two. And I'm going to go to the next slides in a minute. I can integrate this with this and create this. You know what I'm saying? And I'll do this again. I can integrate this and this and create this. With someone like you, my relationship with you, and I love you so much, we're both creative artists, visionaries. I also view you as somebody who is an intellectual too, like how you process, like a philosopher. Sometimes this world values more the cerebral manifestations of competence and brilliance than they do the artistic, spiritual, metaphysical. But I'm telling you, what makes you and me genius is the ability to integrate all and then speak, teach, act, sing, move, breathe, be intimate, all of that, right? But in this space and time, it's not valued. So when I think about who you are for the world, no wonder you push back up against time. Somebody put pushback, I think it was sweetness. No wonder you push back up against time, because in this time and space, how you are wired is made wrong. Right. You're made fun of because you don't fall in line. And sis, I'm not saying be late to everything. I'm just
Right,
saying
I understand.
recognize that the world wasn't fully ready for you and the way you're wired when you landed. And they're coming around, but they're still not ready. And so because you are here to teach and share your gifts, there's a value in learning how to navigate this so that you can share that and have this.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. Ooh, I felt
So
that.
thank you. I mean, I'm sharing it that way because it's you, you know.
Right. That was very good. I always say to people, like when it comes to school and things like that, I'm like, I can't sit in school because they don't have puppets and music, and and you're like doing the perfect thing for me. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I understand.
Yes, good. And that's like you said, all the questions. That's the other thing that I was going to say. You were like, oh, it's so many, slow it down. Can you say it again? How you process information is more kinesthetic.
Yes.
So you're a verbal person too. Like you are very expressive, but maybe in the learning exchange, it has to be in the body and expressed that way. And what's deep about time too is that I feel like it's a kinesthetic concept too, but we're taught to operate from the headspace and then be like robots running towards it. But I'm like, when I embody time, nature, and the ancestors, the timelessness, the infiniteness, then I'm like, oh my God, when I embrace that, then how I show up in time and space for these minute seconds is just amplified because they got me. And I'm like, yes. And then I can be with y'all and be like, oh, it's 7:51. But when that is cut out, I have a difficult time. I do. I want to bring all of me into whatever I'm teaching, learning, and experiencing. And so even with the family and the joke, oh, you're 15 minutes late, that means you're on time for you. I'm like, even that oppressiveness. And I know they don't mean harm, but it's a form of make wrong. It's a form of make wrong. We make people wrong when they're late. And you know, you're a Be the Tree person, alumni. So, you know, we use time, but I'm going to say how we use it in a minute. So I'm going to go to that. But I know others wanted to share. So I pray that folks got something out of our exchange, beloved, but I'm not attached to them getting anything. I just hope they did because you supported us in manifesting a word in this space. So thank you, love. Thank you. All right. Who else is there? And I'm looking at time because I want to do some things with y'all family. Some other things.
So next is Chastity.
Okay.
Chastity, are you ready?
Yes, I definitely won't take a lot of time, and I did get blessed in that conversation, by the way. So I'm a little opposite. So I'm always late for everything according to I don't know. Time didn't exist. I always had a very negative aspect on time. I wrote it down so I wouldn't be too long-winded. And I always thought I was going to be dead for some reason by 18. And I'm like, oh, I'm still alive. And then at 21, I'm like, I'm still alive. I'm about 25. I don't know, was it watching too many Don't Be a Menace to Society by Drinking the Juice in the Hood movies, or I don't know why. For some reason, I don't know, the way I grew up, I just didn't think I'd be alive past 25. So I'm like, who cares about being on time? And then my body started telling me how important time was after 25, particularly in this last few years, I'm 37. So I'm being forced to pay attention to time because my body has forced me to pay attention to time. So I want to get better. But I've never ever cared about what time I show up, including everything, work, everywhere. I get there. When I get there, that's when the show starts. So I know that that's not the healthiest way. That is not productive. In some ways, it has been productive, you know, like if you're an artist and that kind of stuff, and do spontaneous stuff, but in every other way, it hasn't been. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. I feel like this is an extension of the conversation that I just had with Sister. I know my pushback against time, because I used to always be late for work. And my justification was like when I worked in the world, because now I work for myself, my justification was I always work more than the average person. Like my nickname for myself, you know, people say worker bee, I'm a worker beast, like how I generate. And I wasn't being accountable or responsible for how I was negotiating and navigating the currency of time as it related to raising my daughters and getting them to school. And there was this, and it comes from when I was younger, and a trauma, like a wound. I grew up with folks who had addiction issues and mental health issues, and I often had to figure out how to, and I'm trying to think when it really got started and got ramped up. In my adolescence, you know, people's addictions around me. I grew up with my grandparents, my uncles and aunts, and their addictions got ramped up when I was an adolescent. And so navigating in a household where I had to figure things out on my own because they were trying to deal with the addiction of my uncles and aunts who were close in age. And because I was good in school and, you know, fairly compliant with rules and going to church, I got left to figure out time on my own, how to clean, how to cook, how to get out on time. And that being left to figure that out at that age left a wound. And so for me, what I deal with is abandonment. And then because of my resentment around being abandoned, I would push back up against authority. It's like, y'all don't look out for me. I'm on my own. Don't tell me what to do. So operating from the 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 3 to 7, I resisted it. I'm like, I'm going to do the work, but in my own time. And I would get these stellar levels of feedback about the work I produced, but not being on time was a problem. Not writing my notes on time was a problem because, you know, I work in social services. And I had to look at the ripple effect of that, how I created a revisionist reality, because in my mind, I'm like, I'm doing great. Like, y'all need to catch up to me. But I wasn't dealing with the nature of being that way, that I was bringing my trauma wound from childhood into the workspace, into the client engagement space, into the intimate partnership space. And being rebellious was a form of me self-protecting and dealing with my fear around being in a household where there was violence, where unpredictable behavior was present. So I had to control something. And time was one of those things that I declared that I could control. Couldn't control all of this out here, but I could control that. And you will not control me and my time. But I'm like, yo, I want my paycheck on time. So it's funny how we pick and choose, we cherry pick, you know, how we're going to operate with that. I'm like, I want them to operate on time, but I get to do what the hell I want to do. So once again, not saying that I don't want to address how oppressive time is, how patriarchal and white the construct can be. But I also know that it has its value. It definitely does. And the more I resist it as an entrepreneur, the more I resist it as a leader, the more I resist it as a woman in desire of relationship, intimate partnership, the more I create suffering for myself. And whatever you resist persists, as they say. It's not my line, it's what it said. And I feel like it has value and truth. So I hope that this was helpful. I see you writing. I'm like, what's the trauma wound? What are you running from? What are you trying to control? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, I don't know to raise a hand, but I am writing because I didn't think about it like that. And that's exactly, I know you see my dramatics in the back.
Oh, no, I'm dramatic
but that's exactly how I felt. Like, I'm excellent. Why y'all complaining? Look at this. Y'all been writing me the galas and all this. I don't even want to be bothered. Listen, I'm coming to do my job. As long as I can get there when I feel like it, that's pretty much my agreement. You know, I'm always on time when I first start. But then after my work, I feel like, why do I need to be on time? I'm putting in this work. Look, mind you bugging. Look at these numbers. But you're right, that I didn't have no control. And that's exactly how I grew up, where everybody getting high and everybody just doing a whole bunch of everything. And I'm just like, why am I here? I don't belong to these people. And all right, so that makes sense. And I'm shut up.
Ashe, thank you. No shutting up. Just, you got it. You're writing it. You'll keep working on it. Thank you, beloved. I'm conscious of the time, right? Because we do operate from the ticking clock as well as the spiritual, as we did with Sister. So I just want to acknowledge you. If you have to go to work, if you have to leave this space, whether you're on Facebook or Zoom, just thank you for being here. I definitely want you to stay, but if you can't, because it's a Tuesday, is it a Tuesday morning? Yes, a Tuesday morning, December 20th, just call in time. And you need to do that. Thank you. Thank you for the time spent. Thank you for the contribution. Thank you for the investment. Thank you for the co-creation. We love you in this space. If you're new to the space, keep coming back. We're here 5 days a week. My contact information is being dropped in the chat if you want to be in touch. And before you go, if you have to go, I want to announce that we are doing a 7-day ritual to close out 2022 and to usher in 2023 in the form of time and energy. And y'all know my word is juiciness, right? So that 7-day ritual is virtual. You do it at your own pace based on your own time. And I stress this, your own pace and your own time, because people are like, well, we don't time to have to be at such and such. We don't have to show up. I'm like, you show up how you show up. You get the package. We tell you what to do. You create sacred space in your home if you want to, right? You buy a journal so you can use the journal for the navigation of the space and the writing prompts if you want to. There are affirmations for every day. You can utilize them if you want to. You can take the spiritual bath that we declare and suggest if you want to. There's daily meditations if you want to. You spend your time in that space navigating how you want to. And I do this every year for the last 10 years to close out the year. And I've been doing rituals like this for over 20 years. I invite you to do it so that you can be in community, because one thing about time is that we share it with others. So when we operate like, oh, I can be late, or I can forget this, like others are impacted by how we utilize our time. My daughters were impacted when I would be utilizing my time home with them, but really still at work, because I would have a beeper. And then later on, it became a cell phone, and I was always on. Right? I was always in the mode of work, or because I was not on time with my notes, I would be home writing notes. So how we spend time has an impact on others, whether they're close and near and dear, or they're in proximity of us. Our time is also deeply tethered to other people's time. And when we operate like it's not, then that's when we have issues with other people and with ourselves, whether we're conscious of it or not. All right, family, let us move to the next slide. So Nigel, I will tell you where to go as far as the definition of time that we use in Spirit of a Woman. For those of you who don't know, Be the Tree, Wake Up Everybody is an offspring of Spirit of a Woman, my company. Spirit of a Woman is 20 years old this year. And Wake Up Everybody will be 3 years old as a child of Spirit of a Woman. It'll be 3 years old in March 2023. Wow, time flies, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Or doesn't? Depends on what you think. All right, so let's see the next slide about how we manage time in Spirit of a Woman. So there's a play on words, so timely, because the acronym for Spirit of a Woman is SOW, SOW, like sowing seeds into lives of individuals, groups, institutions, like pouring into them so that things can grow. And what I call this slide is so timely, like SOW, timely. And then how we view and do time in Spirit of a Woman. Can someone read? Someone read for me?
I'll read.
Thank you.
In the spirit of a woman, so culture time is viewed in a multidimensional, multifaceted way. We navigate time as a spiritual undertaking. Kairos.
Mm-hmm.
Which is supported by the keeping of the worldly measure of time.
Chronos.
Chronos. Mm-hmm. Both are valuable and both are honored as equally powerful, relevant, and important to this life journey.
Yeah, I said this earlier, that when I was speaking to Sister, and then a little bit when I was speaking to Chastity, that this whole concept of time has its value in the way that the clock works. But I love like this picture on the side, like it shows the clock and all of its components, not necessarily all together, right? And then it shows the universe and just the energy and the colors and the swirl. We forget about the swirl. We forget about the energy. We forget about the metaphysical aspects of it. And we get caught up in the ticking clock. and the birthdays that pass, and then the months, and then the taxes when they are due. And those have value. They're important. I love that we keep history. The other day, I've been thinking about time so much and intuiting about time so much. I'm like, oh my gosh, who told whom that this happened in 1500 BC? Like, who wrote it down? I think about the hieroglyphics and the first language and the first things that were written down, and how man, or however they identified, figured out how to communicate. And it's like, how can we create language so that we can understand one another, and how in different parts of the universe and the world, different people came up with ways to do the same thing because we're wired for it. I love it. And then the other part is I think about time in this body. Do you know Chastity and Sister and Abimbola and Catherine and everybody, Nija and Chantel and Shawnee? Do you know that this body has an inner clock? I don't know what we would call it, right? But there's the number of heartbeats in a specific set of time, or in a time frame, the flow of blood through the entire body, how long that takes, how many blinks we need so that our eyes don't dry out and there's not a problem with how often do our salivary glands need to generate so that we have enough wetness on the tongue to speak, right? How long these teeth are in your mouth if you don't damage them? Like, how long would they stay in the mouth? And the growing of teeth, like my little grandbaby daughter has 2 teeth that are growing at the bottom because the other 2 fell out in their own time. How the hair grows, right? How we shed skin, how our bodies restore. Time is all in that, but it's a special type of time, not ticking tock time, but just the power of the universe that lives inside of these human bags that we're in, called skin and bodies, right? I mentioned earlier that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, but we often dismiss, and diss the spiritual aspect of it, and get caught up in these frames, the wrinkles, the skin color, the height, the breast size, the booty size, I'm old, I'm gray, I'm young, like all of that stuff. And it diminishes our life experience because we do that. So Chronos and Kairos, I think is Greek, and I'm going to use this, but it's not the only way to look. Like, find the other languages in Asian culture or African culture, and like find other ways to get these words and these connections that work for you. Like, I was looking at the Adinkra symbol for time, and I didn't use it today, but I could have used this too. So I'm just putting it out there that there are different ways to language this, but it's the same type of concept. So let's go to the next slide. And then I'm going to do an activity with you before we close out. So I would love a reader, the title, and then I would like one person to read the Chronos side, and then one person to read the Kairos side. Anybody?
I'll do Chronos.
Thank you. And just read the title before you start.
I'll read the Kairos.
All right, wonderful. Thank you.
Time, minutes, moments, and momentum. 2 words for time in Greek. Chronos is about quantity, measured in minutes, is infinite, past, present, future. Time that we consume, sequential, a daily reality. Imagine a watch.
Yes, thank you. Who's reading Kairos? I heard the voice.
Kairos, Theodora,
Thank you.
is about quality, measured in moments, is infinite, LMO.
Oh, eternal.
Is that eternal? God, I
Yeah.
have my glasses on. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I love the guess, and you were like, let me guess this. Go ahead.
Time that consumes us, seasonal, a spiritual opportunity. Imagine a window.
Yes. All right. What do you see, family, in this? The difference between Chronos and Kairos. And remember what I said, like, these are just the words I'm using for this exercise. There's so many ways to describe this in other cultures, languages, and from different perspectives. But what do you notice?
Can I share? It's
Yeah,
Marjorie.
go ahead.
You got me up, so I'm sharing.
She's like, you ain't gonna use up my time.
I see as a society, and even for myself, that we are very consumed with the chronos.
Yes.
And someone put in the chat that they hated the phrase "time is money."
Mhm.
That's how we see it, and we're so focused on it. But I'm noticing for me as I get older, that Kairos is something that I've neglected throughout my life. I've had pockets of it, but as I'm realizing that, I'm getting older, and like you said, I'm a spirit having a human experience, that Kairos is more important to me, right? As I look around, as I have time with my son or our family, or even with myself, right? That has started to consume me a little bit more.
Got that. Thank you for your honesty. What's the impact on you?
Awareness,
Okay.
feel more awakened. And just really understanding that things can be very trivial, but we make it so monumental, right? And just taking each moment and just being grateful, and just lots of gratitude.
Shay, got that. Thank you. And I have gratitude because you're sharing time with me and us this morning. So thank you for your contribution and your investment in this. Who else? What do you notice? Anybody else? Raise your digital hand, come off mute.
Shawnee, for me, as I get younger, Kairos, I think, is because I've learned to appreciate time. I've learned to appreciate being. And sometimes I really concentrate on being in the moment, which is something I've learned through Wu.
Yes. Sure. Yeah.
So I think I live now more in Kairos than Chronos, but I'm constantly running to catch up with time. So
yeah. Sis, are you a grandmother?
Oh, I am a grandmother of 20, great-grandmother of almost 40, and I've got 3 great-greats.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I don't know if you're conscious of this. This is not, no pressure, because that's a lot of people to keep up with. But are you conscious of who the absolute youngest is in the family right now?
Yes. The youngest is my granddaughter's son, my great-granddaughter's son, who's about 6 months old, 7 months old.
Yay. Yay. And who's your first grand?
My first grand is Tatiana. She's 37 or 30. No, I think she might be 40 this year.
Okay.
Next year. So she's about 39.
All right. Well, thank you for time spent in co-creation. Thank you for contribution on that level, that many family members who are now also engaging in the navigation of time and how your family is configured in all of that powerful investment. So I'm thinking about the grandbaby, the great grand, who's 6 months old. What would life be like for that grandbaby if there was amount of time spent teaching the grandbaby about Kairos and Chronos as equally as powerful and as a necessity, and blending them being a necessity. So let me say this again. What would life be like for that 6-month-old grandbaby if from now until they're the age of your eldest grandchild, they were reminded of the power of both Kairos and Chronos? And remember, I said you can use any language, but the spiritual aspect, the seasonal aspect of time, like we could literally keep time based on the leaves growing, turning colors, falling off the trees, like, but we are on this second hand, like what would life be like for that baby if you poured that in, if the other family members embraced that, and if they lived a life where they didn't think like time is money and we need to operate like this? Just what would be possible, sis?
I think that would be so much better because everybody seems to try to cram everything in. That grandbaby lives in Pennsylvania, but I have, I'm trying to count how many, about 8, 9, 10 grandbabies who live close to me that I do pour into. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and just slowing them down, just not, you know, this is coming to me because I'm thinking about nature, but just like taking walks, but not walks like, you know, where you're watching the clock, but just like watching the scenery and how nature unapologetically moves at its own pace until we start meddling with it. So, you know,
Yes.
part of what's making us sick now is that folks were like, it's taking too much time for this fruit to grow or these vegetables to grow. So let's add some ingredients to speed this shit up. And now it doesn't taste the same when you eat fruit or a vegetable. Now,
they don't react on your body the same.
No, because nature had it in time and space. And we decided as humans that we could do better. And our trying to do better has made it worse for us. And not all, we don't own that. We have done that damage, but we have. So thank you so much for sharing you and your family in this moment in time. I appreciate you. Phyllis, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to hear from you. I'm about to do an activity and we're going to go into breakout rooms. If I'm going to put you in 3 breakout rooms, a breakout room with 3 people, sorry, so that just in case one of them can't speak, you know, that there'll be at least 2 people in there that can converse and unpack what I'm about to do. So I'm going to ask you to drop a number between 1 and 11 in the chat. And we're going to spend the rest of our time allowing time to tell. Like that term, time will tell. We're going to use time as a divination tool. We're going to use time as a sacred voice and messenger for us today. So drop in the chat and in the Facebook thread a number between 1 and 11, and let's see what time has to tell you. And then after you drop it in, family, Kojo, it's okay. It'll be 3 people in the breakout room. So let's hope and pray that the 2 people that you're in the room with can speak. And you can use the chat to share if you wish. So anybody, if you can't speak in the room, just let the other 2 speak and you hold space. So drop it in the chat, number between 1 and 11, just one number. And I always say this, people are like, why is she saying this? Not 12, not 15, not 22. The numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and pick one number and drop it in the chat. And then we'll see what time has to tell you. Are you curious? I am. And I'm going to ask Marjorie, can you unmute? Because I have a favor to ask.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you select my number so I can get like a true intuitive message? Because I know what the offers are. I just want someone else to pick for me.
No problem.
What number you got for me?
Number 9.
Number 9. I love it. I love number 9. All right, awesome. So I'm taking number 9. Everybody have theirs in? No cheating. Chantel, anybody drop it in on Facebook?
Yes, we have a few numbers in Facebook.
All right. Thank you, Facebookers. All right. I love it. So here we go. Some people jump ship. They're like, breakout rooms. They're like, I ain't got time for that. Let me stop.
It's true. I'm guilty of that.
Like, why are you leaving the space? Just say you don't want to be. Use the time to speak up. Damn it. Say what you need to say. All right. So let's reveal, because I want to see my number 9. And I'll tell you what you're going to talk about in the breakout room. We're going to be in there for 6 minutes. So each person gets to share. If it's just 2 of you sharing, you get an opportunity to share longer, right? 3 minutes instead of 2. And if you go in there and you can't hear anything, see anything, time is trying to tell you, just spend time with yourself for 6 minutes. So you can write and journal. You can play a song in 6 minutes. Don't make it wrong and don't come back to the main space. Just use it to journal about your journey with time and what time had to tell you. So let's put up the slide, Nigel, and see where we go. All righty. So if you got number 1, you're going to look at time spent being sad. If you got number 2, you're going to look at and talk about time spent being angry. If you got number 3, time spent denying the truth of the matter about that relationship, about that job, about your health, right? And number 4, time spent watching others do this and do that and not necessarily being in action. Watching is great. Witnessing is powerful, but this offer is about you watching and waiting and not doing, right? Number 5, time spent pining. I don't even know if that's the proper spelling, but that's what we're using today. Time spent pining. Number 6, time spent second guessing. 7, time spent judging yourself and others or situations like, oh, they don't know what they're doing, right? Time spent people pleasing, right? Number 9, time spent enabling. Oh no, I thank you, Marjorie. Number 10, time spent hoping. I hope this works out instead of being in action once again. And then 11, time spent worrying. So we're in this moment in time. There are no accidents. Some of you might push up against it like, this ain't for me. You might get it later. I trust what Spirit gives. So please, I invite you to spend time trusting what Spirit has given you in this space. Only time will tell you what you need to know. All right. We're about to go into the breakout room and speak to your partner about why you got this particular time will tell message, right? And explore. Let's see what happens. Baba Kocha, what did you miss? Put it in the chat. All right, you got it now. Okay. So we ready to rock with the folk, or somebody have a question? And Nigel, I see somebody jump ship, so we're down to 29. We ready, Nigel? You have to unmute.
Yes, we're ready.
Okay, wonderful. See y'all when you get back. 6 minutes, y'all. 6 minutes.
All right.
6 minutes like you fresh your own.
People leaving and messing up my breakout rooms.
No, how dare they? Just selfish. Jennifer, you dropping off? You can't stay? You can stay and talk to me. It's okay. Which one did you get just before you leave, Jen? Let us know what you got before you leave. And I got time spent enabling. Got it, babes. See you soon. Thank you for being here. Thank you for investing time in this space today. I appreciate you. All righty. So I'm going to talk to those who are still in the space. I think there are 6 of us. Does that include Nija and Shan?
Yes.
Yes.
So we are left in this space. A couple of people are in this space and they haven't joined their rooms.
Okay. Anybody left alone? Remember, we told them to journal. Send a message up in there. Tell them, like, if they're in there by themselves, just use the time to reflect on why they got what they got. And Nigel, you know how to send a verbal message? Because I love that.
Yes.
I love you can send them. Isn't that cool?
I know.
Yeah. So while you do that, I am going to talk about mine. And then I want to hear from someone else. And Chantel, you'll let us know. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Nigel got it. You're on it. Okay.
All right.
Go back to my breakout room.
All right.
Great.
Awesome. It's like, wait a minute. Wait. All right. You know what? Maybe I'll chill on mine. Anybody in the space right now? There are 4 of us. Well, there's only one other person because it's me, you, Chantel, and then there's one person who's still in here. Who's still up in here?
So Florence.
Flo is in here.
We have a Leon who just joined us.
Leon.
He's joining.
All right.
Leone,
cool.
maybe?
Oh, yes, yes. Yes. All right. So I'm going to ask you, Chantel, to share what you got while we wait on the others in the breakout room. And then this is for Facebook too. What'd you get, love?
Okay. I got
What was that?
nothing.
Mhm.
Me being present. Time spent watching. Also because I didn't really know what to think of this one. like watching other people, watching the time go by. I just didn't know
Well,
how to
I
interpret
shared it really quickly, but I can clarify all.
Please.
Right?
Okay.
There are folks who, and they operate like this is, I'm more of an observer. I watch, and sometimes the watching is like from fear. It's like I'm gonna jump in as soon as I know all the details and what exactly they want, and then I'll tap in, or I won't tap in at all. I'm gonna let them do all of this, and then I'll stay over here as an observer because of fear, anxiousness, sabotage, like all these levels of being over here watching rather than being in the action. Like observing a television show rather than being in the show.
Yeah, got you. So what came up for me while you were speaking was me watching you and my resistance around stepping up more and taking that leadership role more. Just for example, last night when we had a planning meeting and I was like, no, don't leave me, Shawnee. I can't do this. And I spent a lot of time watching, and I'll do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but I'm watching like, yeah, I'm not there yet. Or yeah, I don't know if I could do that. And sometimes watching discourages me from taking that leap and stepping out and stepping up into opportunities that I am more than capable of being a part of and executing.
Got that.
So while I'm watching, I'm comparing and then wasting time that I could be doing and being.
Yeah, what's the source of it? Like I was speaking to Sister about the source of her lateness and just having a challenge navigating time. She went back and was trying to retrieve the dynamics with her mom, and then also just owning that she's wired differently in the world that doesn't necessarily have a full space for someone who navigates the way that she does. But with you, this time spent watching, what's the source of that? What is that about?
It's about low self-esteem and not believing in myself and feeling like I have to keep gaining all of this knowledge before I'm ready. Like it's not my time yet. Or I'm watching out of self-doubt. I need more resources. I need to learn more before I can jump out, and feeling ill-equipped for whatever it is that I'm watching someone else do. And watching, I lose time to do what I'm needed to do, and for actually jumping in so that I can learn and use that time to make changes or iterate what I am sharing or get feedback on what I'm doing. So I'm wasting time that I could be using on getting better and progressing because I'm sitting back watching, waiting for the right time, which this is the time.
Yes. Yeah. And, one of the things that, as we prepare to do the 7-day ritual, I've been doing a lot of reading, and then the sacred text that was selected, the power of now, I think it's called. Just thinking about that, it's like the only guaranteed moment that we have is the moment we're presently in. Right. We're not guaranteed the future, and the past is gone. So it's such a simple concept, and I keep forgetting that is true. Oh my God, because I've been indoctrinated around how to navigate time in this very, very limited patriarchal, we call it a capitalistic way. But I'm like, yeah. And if I keep thinking about, well, later I'm going to do this and later I'm going to do that, that is me declaring that I know what the future holds, and I don't. Some shit has happened to me that I never expected. What I can do right now, just as I'm talking to you and holding space, is just own this moment and be present in it, full tilt, right? And operate from the power and the majesty of it. And the other piece that I will say to you about watching me and, second guessing yourself. Remember I said our time is tethered to other people's time. So what you're basically saying about me is that I'm not smart enough and competent enough to select someone that can lead in my absence. Your watching is tethered to my choices. I chose you. So what does it say about me that I chose someone that is incapable of leading? That doesn't know how to hold space if I'm not present and being the puppeteer. Well, I mean, and I'm not trying to make this about me. I feel
No, I
like
get
you're
it.
making this about me.
Yeah, because in my head, I'm like, well, why'd you go on and give me all that responsibility? Why do you believe it be so
Or that I will
bad?
do this better, not even the
Right.
response, or that I have some, and I'm good at what I do. I love what I do. I'm great at what I do. But the bottom line is that you've been around long enough to be able to navigate in these spaces and do it in your own way and get guidance. You know, I'm always going to give guidance, and also to ask questions if you're not clear, and
Yeah.
take risks. Ain't nobody going to die.
Right.
Right.
And I think it's when you say being it about you, it being about you, my thought is more so like, why would this person have so much faith in me? Now I got to jump out and do this. It's like, that's nice and all, but I don't know if I'm ready. But also trusting the fact that I know that you know when I'm ready, and there's that resistance from me for my own personal reasons and self-doubt. So,
Yeah.
and I also hear my old supervisor telling me, like, when I shared that I wanted to be a facilitator and do operations, like those two different departments at that job at that time. And he said, you can't do both. I can't even do both. So, and in the back of my head, that's been in the back of my head, this white man's voice, like, you can't do this. So I'm always like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And I'm watching because I got to get everything I need to be ready. So I think that also lives in the back of my head as well, feeling like I can't ever be ready because I can't do this. And yeah, I hear that often.
Yeah. You know what? To me, sometimes the worst of the worst is when someone has a disempowering context about themselves, about what's possible, about what time can do or cannot do. People sometimes will do that to me. Like, I'm like, yo, the event is happening in 2 days. We can manifest guests for this event. I believe that we can start from 0 and go to 20 in hours.
Yeah, and
people are like, no, we need to cancel. We can't do. I'm like, no, we do not. Or somebody will come to me. It's like, I'm canceling my event. I don't have any guests. I'm like, what? You better get on that. You know, and sometimes I do. I'm like, okay, for me to lead in a space, don't get me wrong. I'm like, my time is currency. To me, time is more valuable. For me, time is more valuable than money. Of course, I want money, but you know, sometimes when I'm scheduled to lead and there's the potential for 20 people and then there's 2 people, I'm like, do I want to use my time in this moment in this way? And sometimes I choose, no, I don't. Like, I need people to be in the space so I can co-create and generate more powerfully, because the numbers will make a difference in the unpacking of the conversation in the session. But do I make up that because we don't have anybody in the moment that's that? Like, and just throwing the towel? Absolutely not. And I know that probably has you shook sometimes, Chantel. But I'm like, no, we doing this, and it can happen.
And we do it.
We do. But one of the things I want to release is the stress, you know, around it. But the bottom line is that I believe that I'm magical. And I know I'm magical. And so I'm like, and I know my voice matters. So I'm like, yo, we're going to manifest. We're going to manifest just like you declared yesterday. We're going to have this amount of people by the end of the week. I'm like, yes, Chantel. Yes. I was like, can we? Then I'm like, of course we can.
But I learned that from you. But I learned that from watching, right? So there is some good in watching.
No, you watched and then you did. There's a difference.
Absolutely. I say thank you.
Yes. All right. So folks are back. Welcome back. I want to be conscious of time, because, you know, just thinking about my team that's here today working with us to co-create this session. But I want to hear from some of you why you believe, and Phyllis, if you want to share, if she's still in the space, I'd love to hear from you because you didn't get a chance to share earlier. Why do you believe that the universe gave you the time will tell message that you got this morning? Who wants to share? Raise your digital hand, please.
Shawnee, repeat the question, please.
Why do you believe you got that message? What you shared, you got the time will tell message. You can, Nigel, put up the 11 messages if you wish, just to remind people what you talked about in the breakout room. What did you tell your partner was the reason? So based on that clarity, you still want to share, or are you just seeking clarity? I don't even know whose voice that was. Yes, we sharing, we not sharing? Oh, I see a hand. And Zinga, come on, girl. Oh, you know what, Phyllis? Wait, 1 second. Let me check. And Phyllis, did you want to share for this one?
Yes.
Okay, great. Come on, sis. Because I know last time you didn't get a chance to share. And then we'll go to Zinga.
My number was 8, and it was time spent people pleasing.
Oh Lord.
I don't know why I received that like I was in the chat in the breakout room explaining that maybe it's pleasing my children and family members, but basically to me it would be like making sure my children are grounded and done, my time. I was explaining that I never rushed to do anything in my life. Like I was explaining and I was talking and Z explained that it could be from my childhood because my mom, she was always up, made sure breakfast was done and this was done. And even though, she had her alcoholism and it didn't stop her from being the mother at the moment. A lot of things changed when my sisters and them came to live with us in the early 70s. But her alcoholism got worse. And they didn't help, even though they was older, they didn't help to help us. They just made us miserable, made me and my younger brother miserable because but my time, it's like, once I know it's a certain time that I have to be somewhere or the time, like I said, the time to be, my mind automatically wakes me up, get me up at least 2 hours early or out early for me to focus on what I need to do. And that's the way I've been, even when it came to my kids going to school and everything. They never was late, breakfast was done, and everything just functioned that way for me.
Yeah, can I jump in because I'm conscious of time and I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to share. So I love that you shared more because when you talked about addiction, that's an area of what I'm doing air quotes of expertise for me. I've been working around addiction and mental health stuff for 31 years as a clinician, a social worker. I used to work in child welfare where there was a lot of families that came into care because they were Black and because they had issues with addiction and mental health. And I said earlier, I'm a child. I come from the background of family addiction. So I've never used drugs, but I was the recipient of energies and behaviors around drugs. And in families where drug addiction is present, we take on postures as the kids or the mates of, if it's a parent that has an addiction, sometimes it's both parents or the caregiver, the other parent will become an enabler of the person who has the addiction, or sometimes if there's only one parent, the eldest child will become the enabler, or the eldest child will become the hero, trying to clean up everything, looking out for the person that has the addiction, calling their job and saying they're sick when they're really coming down from being high. Another role in where there's family addiction is the scapegoat. That's the person that everybody blames stuff on. They don't want to deal with the addict. So they will focus on this person who's not doing well in school or having behavioral issues so they don't have to address the addiction issue. Another role, and usually if there's a lot of kids or if there's one child, the one child will take all of this on. There's the mascot, the comic relief for the family. All of it is about people pleasing because you're trying to negotiate with the person that has the addiction and trying to navigate in that family situation. So even when you say, I get my kids up, I cook, the frame is from dealing with addiction and the chaos that can ensue from that. I'm now living my life trying to make sure I don't turn out like this. I don't repeat these patterns. And that is the essence of people pleasing. Making sure that folks don't see you like that. You're in the family, you're not replicating that. It's running from the dynamic of that low vibrational fodder that addiction leaves in a space. It's often this big ass elephant in the room and everybody's dancing around it. And then they develop postures and behaviors to navigate it and to escape it. Some people, their escape is to become an addict. Yours is to make sure shit is right and tight and that people are taken care of. So I push back up against anybody that says this is not for me. We just need to have more of a conversation. And I love that you shared a bit more of your narrative. So it helped me to see how people pleasing is tied to or tethered to the time spent by relatives and family members with their addiction or addictive dynamics and patterns. Is that clear for you?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, my love, for sharing. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for investing time in us today.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, who's next? Nzinga. You put your hand down. Are you still ready to share?
I'm still ready to share.
All right, go ahead, girl.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay, so I had number 11, which is just hilarious to me. Time spent worrying, which I'm like, I literally for the last like 2 weeks have been having some trouble sleeping in a normal pattern because I've been like super just feeling very anxious about different things. So I think I spend a lot of time worrying about just the current state of affairs in this crazy looking world that we live in. Have a lot of like nieces and nephews, so I think I spend a lot of time worrying about them and the type of environment that they're growing up in, and you know, whether or not they're learning valuable skills and tools and things that you know, that I deem to be important skills as you know, when you're navigating or growing up. I also have been working on building a business where I've been an energy therapist or an energy healer, getting different certifications and things like that to be a supportive component to people who are recovering from trauma and you know, a lot of things that I've experienced myself, where I'm, you know, all the tools and the skills that I have, I kind of learned them to save my own life. And so now I've also spent a lot of time worrying as I feel like I've been being called or pulled into leadership in different ways, but I'm like, oh no, like, you know, I don't have what it takes, or I don't know enough. I haven't learned enough to be able to share some of the tools or some of the skills that I know. So I spend time worrying about that and worrying about whether or not I'm being a good enough friend, I'm being present. I'm literally just pretending that I'm not worrying, but these are things that are on like a constant loop for me.
Yeah, and not whoa, because you know what you shared we can hold, but just like what's coming up for me, you know, just thinking about it. So what I allowed myself to do was, for an instant, a moment in time, just be with worry as I facilitate right now, being in the space of worry as I facilitate. And I was like, Lord, y'all don't want that. Y'all do not want that. And I thought about the energy work that you're doing. And I'm like, worry and energy work. Worry and energy work. Worry and energy work. Once again, not a judgment. I was just like, can they live and breathe in the same space? Yeah, you can do it and pretend. But like I said earlier, as I've been doing this exploration, I realized that you can be here physically and not present. So what takes center stage when you're doing energy work and worrying? What takes center stage when you are working with the young nieces and nephews from a worry space? What takes precedence or dominates when you are worrying as you build out your business? You tell me.
So number one, when I'm in that space of worry, I'm hiding. So it's either or. So it's like, okay, like I've done what I needed to do. I'm well nourished. I've taken care of myself. I'm in a good mood. So at those times, I'm able to be a good, like a stable, solid facilitator for like the energy work and working with some of the clients or family members that I've worked with. And then in the times where I am in worry or anxiety, I'm hiding. I'm like reclusive. I'm in my own space, like in my own cocoon or in my own
Right. So
cave,
you're
trying to get myself together.
Got it. So
Yeah.
time spent worrying creates time spent hiding, creates time spent what? Fill in the gap. Time spent worrying creates time spent hiding, which creates time spent what?
Time spent feeling insecure and living in not enoughness, where I know that's where most of the worry comes from, because I feel like I'm constantly going back, like double checking, did I do enough? Have I served enough? You know, is the work that I've done or contributed enough? Did I fulfill, you know, what I said that I was going to fulfill for this client or for myself?
Yeah.
And
that I when I think about that is also very self-focused, because healing work is reciprocal. And I get that you said that, you know, when you're not in that space, you know, how you serve. And I believe that. I absolutely believe that. And when you go into the space of worry and then it spirals into what you just described, then you're taking away. And remember, I said time is tethered. Your time is tethered to my time, is tethered to the people that you're serving, you know, the folks that come for the healing. You showing up and not showing up is tethered to them. I don't know if I'm being clear for you.
Can you say a little bit more? I think I'm understanding.
Yeah. So we operate like this time is just like what's happening is just happening in here. But there's such a thing as the butterfly effect. So whether I act or don't, there's still a ripple, right? So when you don't show up because you're in worry, and then that worry turns into self-deprecating thoughts and behaviors and stuff like that, you hide, right? Then that ripple effect creates something that in the world where someone is not receiving what they need because their healing is tied to your releasing healing energy, right? I often don't use this as the example, but I'll use a high vibrational example that when I clap here, I always say a young girl in Guatemala is standing to attention and in her purpose. If I don't clap, then that young girl doesn't get that experience. So when you're activating worry as the queen and the runner of the show, somebody somewhere who's tethered to your purpose, your future, your legacy is not receiving what it is that they're here to receive, because you're over here in self-absorption about who you are and who you're not, even though there's evidence, lots of it I've experienced, of who you are for the world. There may be more growth and development needed, but the evidence that you're on track has been shown to you many times. So if you can't see it, then those blinders were put on long ago. And you're going to keep staying in that loop of, I don't know myself. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. Even no matter how much you study, the shit's going to keep coming up unless you do that work. If somebody said in the chat, rewind, right? So what is the solution in time? And I don't mean literally time, but what is the solution to get you out of worry, isolation? I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not the other. I know, and just based on what I just said about us being tethered together, all of us in different ways, like what is the solution for when you go into the worry mode and are thinking about isolation? It's a simple answer.
I would say maybe presence or a witness, presence and or a witness.
Yes, present, a witness being present to pull you out of there, because the isolation piece, you going off by yourself is just more of the same, slippery slope, more of the same. So how you disrupt it is, I love that, a witness that can be present. And I'm emphasizing them being present, because somebody can be there talking to you, but not fully present to what you're saying, what you might need in the moment. They might be caught up in feeling sorry. So who the witness is super important too, because some people, their witnessing doesn't serve us. So who's a witness you can call on that will actually serve you and be present?
I have two people in my life. One is my cousin and the other is her mom.
Oh,
And she told me maybe like 8 months ago, she's like, what if you had something like a church or some type of ministry where, a lot of the conversations that we have, like I know people in the community can benefit from. And I was like, ooh, I don't know about that. I don't know. But she has like been a constant sort of reminder and force that just some of the things that we talk about in casual conversation, and even some of the like the energy work and just some of the things that we explore together are useful, and can be useful in community. So she's someone who really consistently calls me into my purpose because she's seen and witnessed, who I am and who I have the potential to be. So I would say her or her mom. They're both very supportive in that way.
yeah. And just because they're there doesn't mean that you'll tap in, but just offering that up. If
Yeah.
it's really something that's unworkable for you, then call on the witnesses that can also be present, can share, can remind, can support, and speak truth to you in the space. But I also know for myself that sometimes I let the story run because it's my comfort space to be in whatever low vibration I'm in. I'm like, I know this well, and this is serving me for the moment. So it's about you like really being willing to break the cycle or the what do you call it? The relay, like the circuit, like cut it off, like the flow, and then create a rewiring to that witness so that you can get what you need. Thank you for sharing your worry with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and love you. I've missed you. Missed seeing your beautiful face too.
You too. So happy to be here. Be
Yes.
with
Oh
you,
my
Shorty.
God. What a
Great.
treat. So I'm going to close out, family. I'm conscious that my team has to transition off. I'm already past the time. Y'all know me. I love doing this work and will be in this space rocking out all day if you let me. But I'm going to close the session, and sorry for those who weren't able to share. That's why I created the breakout rooms with the hope that you'd be able to unpack and share in that space. So before we close out, I know that there are a couple of things to read in the chat. So Chantel, if you could do that so we can hear from our Facebookers as well as any Zoomers that wanted to share some pieces with us. I'd love to hear that, and then we'll be complete.
Sure.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
So Robin on Facebook said she got number 11. I'm not surprised there. Time spent worrying. So accurate. In this new cycle of my life, I'm being guided to trust. I worry about getting it right, getting it wrong, and being judged by others. I know the why and the what, but worry about the how. I worry if people will get me and a whole bunch of other unnecessary shit. It keeps me procrastinating and leads to stagnation. I also worry about the time I wasted and whether it's too late. Shay, I can relate.
Yeah, that's a common thing, a human thing. And I love witnessing Robin's journey right now, just what she's manifesting. And we were just together yesterday. It's just great seeing the glow and the power that you exude now that you're like crystal clear. Yeah, the how will show itself. Yeah, who else?
Then we had Jim who said, and some others might have been able to relate to this where you couldn't relate to your prompt, but there's always something there. So Jim said, somehow I can't relate to my selection of number 2, which was spending time being angry. I consider myself to
wait. Well, read it, and I have something for you, Jim.
Oh, okay.
Lord have mercy, have mercy.
Something told me to read this one. I consider myself to be reasonable and even-tempered and don't often get angry because I always say, and this is what I wanted Jim to dig into deeper on Facebook, expect anything from anyone. Is there a different way that I should be looking at this? So I wanted her to explore just that part because that can be detrimental. But take it away, Shawnee.
I mean, you said it. Like one of the things, and once again, no shade, no nothing towards you, Jim. I love how you are. You are a Jim. And there's something to be said, and I'll explain to the community what I mean by this. Like, Jim, if I want to experience a lightness, love, flowers in the form of words, I can go to Jim and receive that. Like, She is consistently going to show up even tempered. The way she speaks, the tone is even toned. And I love that you got this, because I wonder sometimes if you allow for the energy and the messaging of anger, of resentment, of upset to come through as message, because the body receives it all. And what we do it is what's key. I want to know when I'm angry. I want to access that. Sometimes I utilize anger to move me through things and my anger has saved my life. You know, there's a level of righteous indignation that comes with being an activist and an advocate. I'm passionate, but there's this tinge of anger that's present sometimes that propels me forward. Does it take me over? No, I'm very present to it. I recognize it when it comes. I'm like, oh, there that is. And I'm grateful that it shows up. We would not have been given anger and all of the nuanced emotions if they're not purposeful. Rage, I think that's a man-made construct, but all the other nuances and gradations of emotional states of being are necessary. So I would say the message is you don't spend time enough accessing the anger. I think about your recent loss. Like these things, it's like, why? Right? And sometimes it's sadness, sometimes it's, disappointment, sometimes it's shock, deep levels of grief, but sometimes it's anger. When I lost my daughter, I'm like, I do all this work around reproductive health. Why the fuck is my daughter? Why did she die? Like, what? Or I serve people on so many levels. Like, what? I don't stay there, but I at least allow myself a moment in time to acknowledge the presence of anger, resentment, upset, disbelief, like all of those nuanced emotions, so that my time can be spent being at ease, because I call it what it is as it shows up. And then somebody put in the chat, control. Ugh. And I'm like, go back. It's like, where was there a need to control? It's like, I need to control this and keep this contained. And then, you're a very spiritual person. Sometimes this being spiritual, folks think that means you have to be. Jesus flipped tables in the square when they were out there selling their wares and vending in the sacred space that was created for worship. Like, the great ones have experienced anger. It's allowed. So just putting that out there. Maybe somebody didn't allow it when you were growing up and it was made wrong, especially for women. And culturally, it's like, you just don't do that. Women don't get angry. We don't show that, but it's our gift, one of them. And it gives me information that I need to do sacred work on myself. It's like, oh, I haven't healed that. I need to do this work. So I didn't mean to spend so much time on that, but it's like people were like, oh, that's not for me. I'm like, there are no accidents, none. All right, I'm really going to end now. So Chantel had to go, and I thank you, Chantel, for your voice. Nigel, thank you for rocking out to the end. And everybody in this family, thank you for being present. It's almost 9 o'clock. We're going to show the final slides. You can share in the chat, keep sharing what you got from this experience, because I got so much leading it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's put the slide up, Nigel, so we can rock out.
All right.
Thank you, my lovely. So the special offer. Remember I shared earlier that every year, at the end of the year, I do a sacred ritual. In the last 10 years, I've been doing this, various types. Last year was the 7-day stretch. And stretch was an acronym that meant specific things. I did the 7-day I am enough. Ooh, so juicy, so good. So this year, Spirit gave me time as medicine. And I didn't get a chance to show this slide, but time is a sacred balm, and we can use it to heal and transform ourselves, reflecting on the past and looking at the present moment, visioning for the future without attachment. Time is a balm, it's medicine. And Indigenous and African-centered people buy into this. They understand this. Everything happens in its own season. So from next Monday, the December 26th, through Monday, January 2nd, we'll engage in this virtual 7-day ritual process through Zoom video conferencing, through our journals, through the sacred spaces we create, through our ritual baths, through our affirmations, through our writing prompts, through the action steps that we offer for folks to do. And I'm going to stress, you can do it all or you can do none of it. There's no pressure. It's not like other programs that I lead, like Be the Tree, where there's a commitment to time and being present. This is all about you navigating time. So even if you don't do everything, there's a lesson to learn because you didn't do everything. And even if you do everything, there's a lesson to learn. It's like, oh, I must do everything. And sometimes we engage in a time as medicine session being like this around time. And that teaches you something about yourself too. The journey is $99. And if you come with a friend, there's a discount of $20 per friend. So it ends up being like $79, $80, right? And we invite you to register today as a WOO participant, right? We invite you to participate, and we are going to give $20 off. It'll be $79 if you register within the next 24 hours. Please join us. Consider it as an investment to close out 2022 and examine. Yes, I know, Marjorie, you're in, you and Dominique. And just jump in, trust, and believe that you'll get what you need to get in reference to time and that there's more to explore. So let's move to the next slide. There's a registration in there for Zoomers and Facebookers if you want to jump in. And once again, $20 off 7-day time is medicine ritual, December 26th through January 2nd, 2023, 24-hour special for WOO members. Check it out, jump in, it's worth it. Let's move forward. Contact information. Here's my contact information. Most of you have my number. You text me. We're friends on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram, Shawnee the Healer, and then also email me if you need to share something, soulleadershipdevelopment@gmail.com. And love offerings. So sacred space, time spent, time invested, reciprocity, opportunity now to give a love offering based on what you received in this time and in this space. Donations to be given to the Wake Up Everybody virtual community. And you can use Zelle or Quick Pay at soulleadershipdevelopment@gmail.com or Cash App $ Spirit of a Woman. And the code is #743SBG. Love offerings, always say you can do an automated set it and leave it. You can put it in and it comes out every month. Some of you have already done that. So $25 a month, $50, $75, or $100 contribution to this community that gives so generously to all of you without the exchange of fiat, deliberately or intentionally. These sessions are worth millions of dollars. We're on session 745. Lord, the lives that have been changed and transformed because of it. Amazing. So let's move forward. Please do set it and leave it. So for tomorrow, we have a co-facilitation between Z and Sharon. Z, who is our beloved WOO member and admin team member, and Sharon Turnage is someone in her life that she trusts and is bringing to the space to share part 1, why everyone or every family should have a profit and a non-for-profit business. I want to hear all of that. I'm ready. And then the next day on Thursday, our beloved Dr. Danette Bean, Hit the Road Fibroids, the emotional release edition. Whether you have fibroids or not, trust your friends. There's somebody in your friend circle, especially if you identify as Black, that has fibroids or had fibroids. So you're in the conversation. Once again, we're tethered together as far as time. There's somebody in your life that has spent time trying to figure out how to release fibroids from their bodies, and they're struggling with this. So come and receive the information so that you will come from. Once again, I'm a metaphysician, so anything in the body has an origin in the emotions and spirit. Let's move forward, and y'all save the date. WOO Nation welcomes all new members. I saw new names in the space. Thank you for coming and learning and elevating and ascending with us. Thank you for being awesome and co-creative. And please keep coming back. If you're new, drop it in the chat. We love the newbies in this space. So welcome, welcome. Let's stick and stay. Schedule for the newbies and for the folks who are seasoned: Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. We are here from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Today is Tuesday. So that's why the longer session. And Monday and Wednesday, 7 to 7:30 are the shorter appetizers, but they're all potent. And just want to remind you that this is no matter what. So if it falls on Christmas, which is not this year, we're here. New Year's, we're here. Thanksgiving, you're here. I led the Thanksgiving session. So you can count on us to be here from Sunday through Thursday, no matter what. Haven't missed a day since we started, unless it's Friday or Saturday when we're off. And let's move ahead. And we have Woo swag for the holidays or beyond. Because it won't get there by Christmas if you order now, but we have hats. I love these candles, sweatshirts, water, a cup that says, sometimes all I can say is woo chow. That's one of our sayings, woo chow, W-U-E, wake up everybody. Leggings, tote bag, tea or coffee cup, journal, all awesome items to have. So order today. And it's also a way to contribute to Wake Up Everybody community and our work. Let's move forward. Thank you, everybody. Oh, I said I wasn't going to do all of this and I'm doing it, Nigel. I forgot. I'm just on a roll. I'm so used to adminning. So I'll let you do this piece so that I can receive my love shower.
Yes. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for staying with us this morning for this juicy session about time. Here are the ways that you can stay in touch with the Woo family. You have all of your bit.ly links up on the page. So I encourage you or invite you to take a screenshot. This is how you register with us for future sessions. Here are the pages on Facebook where we stream and communicate with the rest of the family. We're on Instagram, and we have an email address so that you can send us comments, suggestions if you have them, or reach out to us if you would like to join the admin team. So thank you, family. Stay in touch. I will stop sharing right now. And this is the time where we shower our facilitator with love through our voices. So please unmute yourselves and share some love with Shawnee for what she brought to the community today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, beautiful queen.
Thank you.
Shawnee, as always.
Nice
To be back in the
wonderful as
and
always.
learn. You are
Blessings.
Love,
pleasant.
love,
Thank you
love,
for the
love.
time.
Awesome.
I
Jackie,
love
do
that.
that tribal.
Thank you.
Everyone,
you.
hope
I
back,
love
everyone.
Yay, this session.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Learning every day.
beautiful.
Always
Hey, family, love y'all.
love you,
Be blessed,
Shawnee.
love y'all.
Thank you.
Beautiful session. It
Great
was
Have a
very,
day.
good
very
day,
nice.
everyone.
Bless
Thank you,
you. Great
Shawnee. We love you.
You too.
Time.
We
Bye.
throw your
Love
flowers
y'all.
your way.
Have a great day.
Now.